Hello, everybody, and welcome back to LELB Society. I'm Dr. Hariri, the founder of LELB Society, and in this video, I'm going to narrate one of my articles, which is a kind of literary criticism on one of their shortest stories, How Much Land Does a Man Need?, written by Leo Tolstoy. And so this is one of the actually, it's a very great, interesting short story, and I personally like it very much. And therefore, I started writing literary criticism some years ago, at least 10 years ago, and I decided to publish it here. Okay. How much land does a man need? A theme explanation. This realistic story begins with an encounter between two sisters in a village. As they met each other, they embarked upon or started boasting about or bragging what they possessed. Meanwhile, Pahom, the main character or protagonist, who was a poor farmer and the younger sister's husband, overheard the women's chatter and felt bitterly humiliated on account of his destitution or poverty. So he made up his mind to make major changes for the better in their financial conditions. Because this story has something to do with greed, avarice, covetousness, and these are some major themes. There was an old landowner who had employed a soldier to burden the peasants with high levels of taxation. As a consequence, the peasants were all under excruciating pressure. In the meantime, this rumor went round that the landowner was going to sell a large proportion of her estate or property to a supposedly merciless innkeeper. Consequently, the peasants put their heads together to buy the estate collectively, in fear of higher taxation solicited or requested forcefully by the innkeeper. Nevertheless, the ranchers or farmers failed to reach an agreement. Accordingly, they intended to buy the land individually. So this is the plot of the story. Actually, I'm explaining the plot. Pahom and his wife gave it their best shot and sold all they had to so that they could manage to buy 40 acres of the estate. From that time forward, Pahom bent over backwards or did his best to plant and harvest on his own land successfully. In the intervening time, this rumor was spread that many people were moving to new parts beyond the Volga, that particular region, I think in Russia, where there were myriads of fertile pieces of land. Pahom began to cast covetous or envy eyes on that land. As a result, he sold all his belongings and bought approximately 150 acres of farmland in that area. And this is the picture of covet or being covetous, the theme of covet and avarice explained in this short story. Pahom had developed an insatiable appetite for having more land. So, if you just click on these links or hyperlinks, you will find illustrated or visualized vocabulary items. And I'm going to share the link to this article in the description area right below this YouTube video. And I'm going to share this video on other social media, including Instagram and TikTok. Okay, appetite for having more land. So even this amount of land did not satisfy him. Meanwhile, he went greedy for the vast estate belonging to the Bashkirs. Thus, he left his wife and set off for the area with a hired person. The Bashkirs were as simple as sheep. Pahom pulled the wool over their eyes by offering them something pleasant but inexpensive. And now it was high time to scratch his back in return. In the end, they made a deal. Pahom could own the freehold of as much land as he longed for at the cost of merely 1,000 rubles, which is the currency in, I think, Russia, in a day, on this condition that he made a circuit of his property, reaching for the spot where he started from dawn to dusk. He was allowed to use a spade to dig holes and pile turfs in order to make the circuit of his land more conspicuous. The concept of avarice and greed in how much land does a man need theme. During the night, he dreamt about the Bashkir chief. As he was approaching him, all of a sudden the chief disappeared, and right behind him the grain dealer came into view. While Pahom was struggling to reach him, the grain dealer vanished, disappeared, and the old dealer came into sight. As the protagonist was getting closer, the old dealer, whom Pahom had met before his immigration, faded away too, but this time Pahom was confronted with the devil with his cleft hoofs. Then, at the dead of night, Pahom stood transfixed at the sight of his own cadaver or corpse just next to the devil. On the following day, overlooking the premonition or pre-warning, Pahom started on his journey towards the east. He didn't even eat breakfast. It was going hotter and hotter, and he was sweating like a pig. Although he was dead exhausted and fatigued, he thought that his land might look lopsided, and therefore he extended his direction in straight lines. In point of fact, he was spreading himself too thin, which is a strive or doing one's best. His bare feet were cut and bruised, and he walked with difficulty. As the sun was close to the horizon, Pahom was quite close to his destination too. Though he was moribund, it means he was actually dying, he was killing himself, he couldn't stop keeping on. In the end, as he reached for the top of the hill, he noticed the Bashkir chief sneering at him exactly as he had dreamt about the previous night. Okay, as the servant was heading towards Pahom to help him, he saw that blood was flowing from his master's mouth. Only Pahom's corpse could reach for the marked spot, and actually he was dead. The servant picked up the same spade and dug a grave long enough for Pahom and buried him in it. 6 feet from his head to his heels was all he needed. And as you can see, this is the author box indicating that I have written this article, which is a literary criticism on the basis of this short story. And also remember, you could be the 25th author or contributed. So far we have 24 authors and contributors, and you can get your articles and posts published in your own name at LELB Society. Thank you so much for your attention. Hope you found it useful and interesting. And so till the next time, take care and bye-bye.